Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne Marie Paraccio, and I have the pleasure of serving as the chair of the Board of Trustees of Sustainable Jersey. On behalf of the entire board, I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's live virtual ceremony, and to also extend special thanks to Atlantic City Electric Company for making this possible. Their $75,000 grant provided the ability for us to launch this new Sustainable Communities Grant Program. That funding is going to go a long way because it's going to help support 4 resiliency grants for municipalities to help them improve their capacity to prevent and respond to catastrophes and emergencies. We'll also fund 7 environmental stewardship projects, which will help municipalities plan for, protect, and improve public spaces in local parks, in natural areas, and recreational resources. We're very excited about this new partnership with Atlantic City Electric, and now it's my pleasure to introduce Melissa Lavinson, who is the Senior Vice President of Government and External Affairs for Pepco Holdings, who's going to provide some more information about the Sustainable Communities Grant Program. Melissa?
Thanks very much, Anne-Marie, and really appreciate it. And I also want to say hello and extend a welcome to everyone that's joining us today. And we are super excited about this inaugural celebration for the Sustainable Communities Grant Program. And I want to thank Anne-Marie and the entire team at Sustainable Jersey for all your help in getting this program up and running, for your partnership, your expertise, engagement, your advice. You guys were so key in helping us achieve success in our inaugural year. When we launched this program many months ago, we hoped that we'd be celebrating the milestone in a natural environment or at one of the facilities at which we're helping to build resilience for our communities. Unfortunately, that's not the case due to COVID. We all need to keep each other safe and healthy, and so we're doing this event virtually, as Anne-Marie indicated. But that said, we're going to do our best to help everyone here picture the significant environmental and resiliency benefits of the programs and projects that we're going to be celebrating today. Just at Atlantic City Electric, you know, we are committed to powering a cleaner and brighter future for our customers and communities, and that includes supporting efforts that protect the environment, preserve and sustain open space, and build resilience in the face of a changing climate. And we believe that being part of communities is about more than just the power lines and infrastructure that we support. It means leading on environmental initiatives and advocating for policy change that can combat the climate crisis and drive a cleaner energy future for all customers. And it means being at the forefront of industry-leading environmental practices across our operations and energizing and empowering communities through partnerships like these, because we know that at the end of the day, healthy environments really do equal healthy communities, and that's something that we all want. So to help accomplish this, earlier this year, we did launch the Sustainable Communities Grant Program to provide funding and support for projects that help preserve and protect the environment and increase resiliency across our communities. And these projects that we're celebrating today, they conserve open space, they increase access to recreation, help improve environmental conditions overall, and they build community resilience. So at Atlantic City Electric, you know, we know that the actions that we take help ensure a cleaner and healthier environment for generations to come. And so the Sustainable Communities Grant Program, it's a key part of making that happen. So again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Sustainable Jersey. And to provide more background on the program and the projects that we're celebrating today, I'd like to turn things over to Gary Stockbridge, our region president for Atlantic City Electric.
Thank you, Melissa, and good morning to everybody. Thank you all for joining us today on our inaugural celebration of the Atlantic City Electric Sustainable Communities Grant Program. I want to echo Melissa's comments around the critical role that Sustainable Jersey has played in helping to make this program a resounding success. We could not be here today celebrating these wonderful projects without your great leadership and support, so thank you all. I also want to thank all the municipalities who submitted applications for funding. While we were unable to fund all of the projects that were submitted, we're pleased to have such a great level of interest in the first year of the program. We will be working closely with Sustainable Jersey and the organizations who did not receive funding to provide feedback on their applications, and there could be potential for support as part of next year's program grants. As part of the Atlantic City Electric Sustainable Communities Grant Program, grantees can receive up to $10,000 each for projects focusing on open space preservation, improvements to parks and recreational resources, and environmental conservation. We also provide grants to support resiliency projects that demonstrate innovation in providing a safe and reliable resource for a community during a time of emergency. In total, each year, the Atlantic City Electric Sustainable Communities Grant Program will provide up to $75,000 towards open space, environmental, and resiliency projects in the communities that we serve. This year's grants will support 11 projects across South Jersey. Our grants will help municipalities update their open space and recreation plans, will be used to create bike paths, and will help ease access to environmentally focused recreation. We also are funding resiliency projects supporting enhancement of emergency flood procedures, a study to help identify the causes of nuisance flooding, and the creation of a weather station that will help enable preparation and implementation of emergency plans. We're proud to support these many initiatives and emphasize our ongoing commitment to the environment and to the communities that we are privileged to serve. I want to thank you all for your commitment to preserving open space, for your support of the environment, excuse me, and for your innovative approach to resiliency. I'm pleased now to turn the program over to Randall Solomon, Executive Director for Sustainable Jersey, to provide more extensive review of our resiliency grants. Randall?
Thanks, Gary. Welcome, everyone, and thank you again, ACE, for this partnership. Before I talk too long, I always want to confirm that people can hear me. So, Caitlin or someone, if you could just give me a shout out and let me know that my volume is good.
You're good.
All right. All right. So first off, I want to say how grateful we are that ACE decided to work with us. We spend a lot of effort with volunteers from the communities, experts, state agencies, academics, to identify and come up with the best practices that we think municipalities can implement to address a lot of these problems. And so working together, we're able to ensure the biggest impact with these important resources. And I think when people see the projects that are going on and how they relate to the Sustainable Jersey actions, that'll be very clear. I'm going to talk a little bit about resiliency first, and then announce those grant winners, and then turn to stewardship. So resiliency is critical to everything that we're doing. We know that we have to take aggressive steps to prevent global warming and extreme climate change, but the scientists tell us very clearly that no matter what we do, we're still going to experience some significant climate change, and we have to be prepared for it. And I think here in New Jersey, a coastal state, everyone thinks about Hurricane Sandy and they think about sea level rise, but it's clearly not just sea level rise. Yesterday it rained, and to me and my, to my eyes, it felt like it was the first normal rain we've had like in a year. One thing that climate change is supposed to cause is more rain, but more rain that happens in a smaller number of more intense rain events. And what does that mean? It means flooding. And that's supposed to come, in theory, at some point in the future, but that really described what the summer was like this year, at least where I'm sitting in central Jersey. But it's not just rain and precipitation. It's heat, it's cold, it's just temperature extremes, it's pests. So we're experiencing all kinds of new species that are coming in, and invasive species are not just caused by climate change, but in many cases they're exacerbated by them. Infectious diseases are spreading. They're more likely to find new vectors here in New Jersey than previously. Wildfires are consuming much of the western part of the country right now as we speak, but New Jersey is actually vulnerable as well to wildfires. We have to deal with more intense wind and storms, which is something that I know our friends in the public utilities are very concerned about and spend a lot of resources trying to be on top of, because it can, wind plus tree plus power line equals problems. And Sustainable Jersey has actions that cover each one of these issues. And so I encourage people to go to our website, look at the actions, and from dealing with climate adaptation, flooding risk, dealing with coastal vulnerability, extreme temperatures, assessing heat islands in urban areas, dealing with wildfires, emergency communications and planning for the community, and in particular, how you deal with communicating to vulnerable populations. Again, we've got a full slate of resources and actions that will guide you in what you can do to make your communities more safe, more prepared, and yes, more resilient. I'd like to turn to announcing the 4 grantees. And a theme that you're going to see in a lot of these grants is locals essentially taking matters into their own hands and taking responsibility for their residents, for their futures, through these actions and through these grants. So, a PowerPoint was created for each of the recipients, and we'll go through it. So the first is Cape May City, who's receiving $10,000. And their grant's going to be used for conducting a study around Cape Island Creek to identify the causes of nuisance flooding. And nuisance flooding is flooding that happens, not during Hurricane Sandy, but just all the time in more typical weather events. But again, the typical weather events are getting more intense and more extreme. And so they want to develop an early warning system and actually better understand the causes and kind of the hotspots for the flooding. Next is Egg Harbor City. And they're going to be using these funds to implement needed repairs at a dam that is, in need of repair. And Egg Harbor City is a community that's been hard hit by COVID, and they are in need of the support. And this dam is also becoming increasingly strained by all these extreme weather forces. So at the same time, they're having a cash crunch, and they've got old infrastructure that is overdue for repairs. That old infrastructure is being increasingly strained by climate change. Next is Hamilton Township, and the grant's going to be used for incorporating green infrastructure to assess stormwater issues and enhance emergency management related to flooding events. And for those of you that don't know, green infrastructure basically means utilizing nature, utilizing bioswales and rain gardens and pervious pavement that doesn't cause a lot of runoff to stop flooding. Next is Medford Township, and the grant will be used for creating an intelligent weather station for monitoring, modeling, visualization to better understand, better prepare, and better warn people in the community about crazy weather. And so one of the things that we've been seeing more of is these like intense microbursts, which will happen in just one town or over 1 or 2 towns, and are harder to predict, but they can be extremely damaging. And this will enable Medford to warn their residents and also people in the region when stuff like this pops up. And now we'll watch a video from Hamilton Township that highlights their project. And I will just note that we've got videos for all these projects, and they'll be available on our website, and they're pretty cool, and we encourage you to watch them.
Hi, my name's Brett Knoll. I'm the Director of Public Works for Hamilton Township. And this is just a short video, first and foremost thanking our green team for making application for this Sustainable New Jersey grant. Right now I'm at our Leafy Track football complex. It's one of the locations we identified for the grant. We're looking to possibly replace this parking lot that I'm standing on here with a pervious surface that would include some under drainage. Instead of making our stormwater basin out here larger, we're actually looking to store stormwater underneath the parking lot and hopefully limit the amount of runoff that goes out into the stream adjacent to the facility. I'd like to also take this time to thank Sustainable New Jersey for their consideration in awarding the grant to Hamilton Township and Atlantic City Electric for the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
So congratulations to all the winners. Next, I'd like to talk about the environmental stewardship grants. And environmental stewardship is obviously incredibly important. Municipalities have some things that, in our distributed form of government and our federal system of government between, federal, state, county, local, one of the critical things that they do is oversee, regulate, own, and manage a tremendous amount of land. Though this land is important because it's a critical asset for wildlife, for recreation. It contributes to our resiliency in many cases by being open space that absorbs stormwater. And, so these ACE grants are providing, again, another critical resource to help municipalities fulfill one of their core duties to their residents, to the future, to sustainability. As with resilience, we've got a full slate of actions that deal with natural resources that can help municipalities and guide them in terms of prioritizing the things they ought to be doing. It includes doing things like a natural resources inventory, dealing with water conservation through ordinances and planning. Open space plans are incredibly critical. Educating people in the community about water conservation and education. Municipalities have a tremendous number of easements, and so there's guidance on how you can manage those easements to make sure that you know where they are and what's being done with them, but how you can put them into the most productive use for people and for the environment. When you think about land development, how can you cluster development to preserve open space, conserve habitat? We've got a tree protection ordinance. We've got a whole bunch of urban forestry and community forestry actions. And so we encourage you all to look at those, and they're available on our website. And so now, without further ado, I'll talk about the 7 grantees. So the first is Clementon Borough. And these grantees all got $5,000 grants. And they're going to be reinventing and updating their open space and recreation plan. And I just want to stress the importance of this type of planning. All municipalities in New Jersey, to greater or lesser degrees, are feeling a lot of strain in their budgets. And one of the first things that often drops off is planning. You go right to core operations and things you have to do. But the old adage, a stitch in time saves 9, is really applicable. If you're planning, you're going to be actually spending your money more efficiently and more effectively. And so it might seem like you're saving money if you drop the planning, but you're actually going to be spending more money in the long term and being less effective. And so we're really pleased to be able to play a part with ACE in helping a lot of these municipalities do the needed planning that's going to result in long-term progress. The next one is Downtownship, and they have a really important beach, which is a home for some critical endangered species, including the red knot. And there's a lot of work that's been done to protect these species, but the Ravens Beach, where is a place that is not really accessible to the public. And so to maintain support for conservation work and for protecting endangered species, it's really important to enable people to see it and experience it. And so this will enable them to create some responsible access to residents and to visitors. Next is Hamilton Township. And this also is going to be used for creating an open space plan. And Hamilton has been looking to update this for a while. They had worked on it for a while and then essentially had to give up due to a funding crunch. And so we're really pleased to be able to help them move their planning efforts forward. Middle Township also updating their open space and recreation plan. And they, as they do that, they're going to be looking at their historic and cultural resources as well, specifically focusing on conservation land for wildlife. They'll be looking at water quality. One of the things I did not mention before, but I'll mention here, but it applies to all of them, as they think about health and wellness in their community in the face of COVID, open space becomes really critical because open space becomes one of those relief valves where people can go, they can exercise, they can get out of their homes, and they can also do it while being safe. And so expansion of access to open space has only grown in importance. Next is Salem City, and the grant's going to be used for redeveloping their West Playground, which, exactly as I just said, has become a really critical outlet in the time of COVID. They need the space, they need places where children and families can go, and so this is a playground that has fallen into a little bit of disrepair, and they want to really upgrade it. Next is Waterford Township, and they are going to be building a bike path between the two of the town's primary recreational facilities and schools, and lessening dependence on cars and acting as a safe route for kids to take to get to school. And finally, Winona Borough, and their grant's going to be used for repairing and renovating the City Hall, the Clay Hill Trails in their conservation area. And obviously that supports residents, it supports school students, and visitors who come to Winona, where they can hike and kind of learn about conservation. So now we'll watch a video from Salem City that highlights their particular project.
Hello, my name is Charles Bailey, the Executive Director of Commerce for the City of Salem, New Jersey. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began, our children have been limited in the physical activities that are available around them. And with your assistance through Sustainable New Jersey, you're going to be able to help us put in safer material for our children to play on as they come down the slide. Material with purchasing swings that are desperately needed and vacant on our swing set. With your help and your grant, Sustainable Jersey, you are helping Salem City rebuild our parks to provide a better community for our children. And from our hearts to yours, we say thank you.
Great. And he thanked Sustainable Jersey, and I want to convey that thanks right back to ACE for their support of this, all these projects. And so that was great. And now we'll also share a video from Downtownship about their grant project.
So this is a really magical place, and some people know about it, but it's kind of a combination of the people who are committed to the Return the Favor program, taking care of the horseshoe crabs, and the locals that have found it, and sometimes, unfortunately, the partiers. So we're looking to clean this whole place up. It's kind of like that whole broken window theory, that if it looks better and looks cared for and looks like it's a natural area that's being promoted that way, we're going to encourage people to treat it that way. And so right now the access is across private property, but we're going to make a path through the marsh with permission from the state we're working on, and get you out to the beach without going across private property, have a place to park where you're not afraid that you're going to lose your vehicle in the potholes, and have a place to put trash, have a place to read about it, put some information about what's important here on the beach. And you can see the state owns a huge management area here, and we're going to encourage folks and recruit a team of people to help keep it clean once we get it that way. And the state's got lots and lots of public land that can't be on top of everything, so we're going to be the local group to make sure that this area is managed and kept clean, and provide that access to this amazing place.
Most people like to come down here. They usually look at the summer months as their favorite time. I happen to like the winter down here because this is the best place to see the snow geese in the dead of winter. They have a huge migration and they settle in on this beach, and it's just a beautiful sight.
As a resident of Fortescue for 29 years, I can say that this area of the Bay Shore is an absolute jewel. It's not easily accessible. You kind of have to know that we're here. You don't stumble upon it. But for folks that do come and are able to enjoy the area, we have eagles, osprey, horseshoe crabs, diamondback terrapins, and a host of other wonderful, wonderful wildlife. And through this grant, we're hoping to be able to provide easier access and a little bit more awareness about how beautiful the Delaware Bay Shore is by using the grant money to make this a beautiful place to enter and tour the marsh areas.
It would be nice if you could have an official access to it.
Hi, I'm standing here on Ravens Beach in Fortescue, Downtownship, and as you can see, this is a beautiful place. I'm looking forward to easier access to this beach, and then what I'm hoping for is people will take ownership of this place and help keep it clean. The grant will allow for some more trash cans down here, which is a beautiful thing, and we just have to hope people use them. Sometimes the trash washes up, and like you can see in this rack line here, we got plastics, we got a lighter, cap, bottles, some cans. So sometimes the trash washes up in the rack, it comes in with the tide and sits in the rack line. But sometimes people do leave their trash behind. So we're hoping having more trash cans down here, we can keep this place clean and keep it looking as beautiful as it is.
This is, such a beautiful area that we need better access, public access. So we don't interfere with private property rights, and this project will help enable people to get to the beach, to enjoy and help rescue horseshoe crabs in the spring, or just to hike and fish. And, the more, recreational activities is going to be, like the business wave that Downtownship's going to need. So we need to promote recreational activities so that our restaurants and bake shops can continue to prosper.
Thrilled to hear about this grant that our team was, eligible to get. And I'm looking forward to not only enjoying the area that it opens up that we can normally not get to, but more than willing, my wife and I are more than willing to help clean up the area and encourage other people to do the same, so we can now access that part of the island that otherwise was sort of unusable for us.
I came here as a child on field trips, nature preserves, all that fun stuff, and I'd love to see the community actually utilize the area. It's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's away from the busy.
I just would really like to see this beach rebuilt to be beautiful, nice beautiful parking lot here, and really bringing more people to the island. We need it, it's great for business, and it's a beautiful beach. Everybody should be standing, honestly.
One of the things that, I really love about these grants is that it validates the work of those people that you saw in that video, and that $5,000 is going to have a much bigger impact than just the specific things that the $5,000 buys, because again, it validates, encourages, and supports the people like that, and they're going to, because of this, do even more. So it's a really good feeling. So congratulations to all the grant winners. Again, on our website, and I think on ACES as well, you can see all the different grant winners, and we will have all the videos from all the different towns as well. And we're hopeful that we can do this again. And so now I'd like to introduce Melanie Lassiter, the Senior Manager of Corporate Relations from Pepco Holdings, and she's going to talk more about the Sustainable Communities Grant Program.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in with us this morning. It's so good to see so many of you represented this morning. I want to first begin with providing just a hearty congratulations to each and every one of our winners. as well as those who submitted your environmental and resiliency projects for consideration. Thank you so much for taking the time to submit your applications and move forward in this process. We're excited to see the Sustainable Communities Grant Program come to fruition, and we are just so pleased to be able to partner with each of you. Thank you to everyone across Pepco Holdings who made this possible, especially Atlantic City Electric and our planning committee, including Alicia Adams, Alexandria Lickenchuk, Susan Cohn, Amber Barroso, Jake Sneeden, and of course with the support of our region president, Gary Stockbridge. And I want to just pause to give a special thanks and shout out to the Sustainable Jersey leads for this project, Renee Hayden and Caitlin Vollmer, who worked tirelessly to lead us through this process. Thank you all so much for all that you put into making this come to fruition. And as you all know, this is the inaugural year of the Sustainable Communities Program, and I'm pleased to announce that this will be an annual funding opportunity for us moving forward. So please check our respective websites in January for an update on the program cycle for 2021, and we will also send an email blast with program specifics. And finally, I'd like to thank our executive sponsor for this initiative, Melissa Lavinson, for her leadership in creating sustainable pathways for our nonprofit and municipal partners. And you all saw, you heard from Melissa earlier in the program, but now let's watch together the world premiere of our program video featuring Melissa and highlighting our goals for the program. Thank you all again for joining us.
We have a strong commitment to preserving and protecting the environment in the communities that we serve. The Sustainable Communities Grant Program is one way that we know we can help do that. Our Sustainable Communities Grant Program supports environmental stewardship, conservation, and climate resilience programs across the communities we serve. Projects include preservation of open space, creation of recreational areas, and projects to adapt to a changing climate. We're committed to stepping up and stepping out on important issues, whether it be helping to combat the climate crisis or taking action to preserve the natural environment. We know that healthy environments equal healthy communities.
Hi, everybody. It's Susan Cohn.
Hi, Susan. We can hear you.
Hey, okay. Hi. Well, I just want to close this out today and just say thank you to everybody. 2020 has been a challenging year filled with disappointments and worry, and programs like this today's Zoom event is just a nice break from all that, to see people's faces and to see, it's really a reminder of what we can do when we partner together and work together. It's so important for us at Atlantic City Electric to really create the connections with the communities we serve. And thanks to Sustainable Jersey for helping us create this new program so that we can really demonstrate our commitment to the communities in such an important way. I want to finally congratulate everybody who won one of the awards today. Thank you. I know how hard it is to put these programs and proposals together and execute them. So good luck as you build these programs. Thanks to everybody who applied for a grant, and we look forward to another great year next year in 2021 for another set of opportunities. And we're just looking forward to see what kind of creative and impactful programs our communities can put forward for consideration. So thanks again, and have a great day. And that's it from Atlantic City Electric. I'll turn it back to Caitlin.
Thanks so much, Susan. Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Vollmer. Thanks for joining us today and watching this video. We're going to have all of these materials posted on our website later. So if you joined a little late and you get to see the whole thing, don't worry. You'll be able to watch the entire grant announce event later on our website. So thank you all again. Thanks, Atlantic City Electric. Thank you all to the recipients and, of course, the rest of the Salem, Jersey staff. And we'll see you next time.